Sepsis is what happens when your body's attempts to fight off an infection go wrong. Basically, your immune system overreacts, causing inflammation throughout your body that can damage your organs and even kill you if it isn't treated quickly enough. There are an estimated 30 million sepsis cases across the world every year, and it kills some 5 million people, many of them very young. Now scientists have found that if you feed babies a particular strain of probiotic bacteria, a type of lactobacillus found in kimchi and yogurt and fermented vegetables, you can dramatically reduce this risk. And even better, it's really cheap, with a whole course of treatment costing just $1.39. Professor Pinaki Panigrahi of the University of Nebraska Medical Center leads the team that made the discovery.
This particular bacteria, which we selected from a library of about 280 strains, and what we have at hand now is one particular bacteria which can be used along with fructooligosaccharides, which are sugars that do not get absorbed like regular cane sugar, but they go to the colon of the human, of the baby. And in the colon, the bacteria feed on them because they're unabsorbed. We cannot digest them until bacteria chew on them and feed to grow. In other words, even if the baby or the host gets good bacteria from whatever outside source, if there would be no food for the bacteria, they will die, because out of 100 bacteria, tons of them will be killed in the stomach acid and many in the later part in the duodenal alkaline medium. And by the time they reach the colon where they reside and they multiply, there will be very few. So unless you have food for them, they would die, or they would, even if they're alive, they will get out of the system in stool. So you will be left with nothing. Whereas if you have food for them, they will grow, multiply, and colonize the infant gut, and in turn will provide the health benefits that they're intended to do. We try to find bacteria that will first attach to epithelial cells in the gut. If they cannot attach, they can't stay, they will get out. They'll be forced out in the peristalsis in the normal way.
And as well as having the advantage of attaching to the stomach wall, as you say, and not being passed through, and having some food,
yes,
the other big advantage with this bacteria is it's very cheap.
Yes, so it is cheap to manufacture. And yes, that was the chain of thought. Yes, the bacteria will first of all, they will attach so that they can stay. And then the second piece of work they do is they will stop attachment of bad bacteria, which could be flooded. And then once the bad bacteria are there, they can also attach and invade and go into the bloodstream through the intestine. That was our primary hypothesis, that we will stop bad bacteria from attaching and growing and passing through the intestine into the bloodstream, and thereby we will reduce sepsis, which is what I think we did. But the biggest surprise to us was the reduction in respiratory tract infection, which was not in our hypothesis because that was a distant organ and we didn't really think of respiratory infection. How did it happen? That is different from our primary hypothesis, what I just described, is by populating the intestine, by stopping other bad bacteria to colonize and invade. So how did the lung get affected? And the answer to that is it is definitely through immunomodulation of the infant. And intestine is the largest immune organ. If you open it up, all the microvilli, we teach students that it will cover a tennis field. It is that large. And if you want to do something, somehow or other manipulate the immune status that is being driven by bacteria, what can be a better place?
We seem to be hearing a lot at the moment about how important gut health is in all kinds of different ways. And it sounds from what you've just said that the gut is like this big amplifier. So if you can improve the microbial situation in the gut, it can have knock-on effects throughout the whole body.
That's correct. I mean, it is linked to all places, including brain. And the beauty of this is what scientists are kind of discovering now. But if you go back to Eastern medical literature, you will find that there have been very defined mentions about this, that gut health is linked to health of other sites. If you go to India in Ayurveda, they knew that there is something good in yogurt, and those are nothing but lactobacilli. But they did not know which lactobacilli were those, what did they do, but they had seen the effect. That is what we are trying to discern now and know how that is doing its job.
Professor Pinaki Panigrahi of the University of Nebraska Medical Center.